In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Pineider Grande Bellezza Gemstone fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I will do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. This is the Pineider La Grande or La Grande Bellezza Gemstone. Not sure how you say it. Really don't like the name, but it means the great beauty, I believe, in Italian. This is the Tiger's yellow color. This particular model, I believe, is discontinued. I think the last retail price for it was $498. Now this line, the La Grande Bellezza, whatever it's called, I really don't want to say that again, is still produced, although I think the pens now maybe have a different filling system, whereas this is a cartridge converter. I paid $223 for this from a store called Pen Savings. I have no affiliation to them, but they have some very nice Italian pens, typically for good deals, and the owner, Chris, I believe is his name, has provided very good customer service. So very happy with the pens and the service that I've got when buying from him. But the main reason that I bought this pen is because I wanted to try Pineider's Quill Nib, which is a nib that was custom developed with Bach to have a more flexible or softer feeling to it. The pen is designed by Dante Del Vecchio. I believe he designs, all the Pineider pens, whereas in the past they had some more, I would say more maybe elegant designs, and I believe those pens were typically made by Stipula. But you see a lot of, and for those of you that don't know, Dante Del Vecchio was the guy that started Visconti. So you see a lot of interesting, unique things on this pen, and they're very, in my mind, reminiscent of the sort of strange things that Visconti would do, which is what always made those pens interesting. Now, the resin used for this has a marble dust infused into it, so you get some more maybe pearlescence to it. I think it looks pretty cool. If I didn't mention already, I paid $223 for this. I really wanted the quill nib, and I think the retail price of the quill nib's like $300, so to have the whole pen with the quill nib for $223, I think I did pretty well. Up at the top, we have a Pineider branded finial here in relief. It's not the smoothest looking finish. Don't really know what you call that. There's a little step or like inner ring and then the outer ring there. It's an interesting finish. And then we have this feather clip, which is a solid piece of metal. It's not stamped. It is spring loaded, so you definitely can see the stem of it rocking back and forth, and you can see there's a little cutout in there for it to move. It has a nice feeling. I don't clip my pens. It doesn't feel like actually super strong, so I'm not sure it's something that, if you're somebody that likes to clip it onto thick things quite a lot, I don't know how well that will hold up, but it looks good. It's straight, which is nice because sometimes clips are not straight. The feather look, not my favorite. I will say I don't really care for that. But, it's got a quill nib on there, having a feather clip, I guess that could make sense. You do have this sort of S shape to it, so it is easy to slide under items without, poking it. So should be pretty easy to use clip. The shape of the cap is fattest at the cap band and then tapers towards the top. And you can see there is a little bit of that lip, or the top part of the finial there is shown. And then looking at the cap band, it says Pineider in relief, and then it has a very textured background. On the back, we have the pentagram, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Not sure why you would want that on the pen, but I don't know. You guys tell me if you like that. I know sometimes people don't like that I always write the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, but anyway, they put it on the cap band for some reason. It's all the same cap band, but you have a clear distinction here where it's chrome and it's angled downwards towards the barrel of the pen. The barrel is mostly straight with a slight taper towards starting about right here towards the tail, and we just have a chrome end cap there. Visually, I don't really care for the way that this pen looks capped. I don't know, it's something like these flat ends somehow don't look particularly appealing to me. Uncapped, it is a magnetic closure, which is interesting. Definitely getting that Visconti sort of weirdness starting to show up here. One thing I will say about this, like, I like it. It's kind of fun. It does post magnetically, which is really nice. And I do think that this pen looks a lot better posted than when it's capped. And unposted, it looks okay too, but capped, don't really love the way that it looks. I will say you do need to be careful with the cap. You're going to want to typically have the cap up. If you do it down and you don't get the magnet quite right, it can shoot. I mean, I've had it like shoot out into my hand like that because the magnet resists it. Normally it'll cap, but I've just noticed sometimes they're like, oh, this is going to shoot itself off of the pen. So just be aware of that. If you cap it like this where the nib is up, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Although there we go. It caps pretty well. What I was very impressed with was the seal on this pen. I left this pen for 2 weeks, didn't use it. It wrote instantly, no hesitation, no nothing. You know, this is a sample size of 1, but I was very impressed with this because normally when you have a weird capping mechanism and you just think it's not going to be as good as a typical threaded one. If we look inside the cap, it's hard to tell exactly if there is a liner. There's certainly, you know, the magnet in there to hold the section on there, and there's definitely a step up, but I just can't tell if that is a liner or not. So it seals really well, which I was very impressed by. Grip section, this is going to be polarizing for people. You really only have one sort of normal area to grip it, which is right here. It's sort of this hourglass-y shape, and then it's textured at the end. I've found this to be comfortable, but I know some people won't. You don't really have to worry as much, you know, about it being slippery because this like indentation here really kind of locks your fingers in there. And I mean, it's really just not easy to lose. I'm trying to pull on the end here. You're not really going to lose your grip on this pen. And that textured edge, I don't really know if it does anything from a grip perspective. I mean, I can almost barely feel it with my fingers, but I suppose it's added there. Now, the real star of the show here is the quill nib. So these are 14 karat gold nibs made by Bach. They are custom designed specifically for Pineider. And you can see these cutouts on the base of the nib, and it's really there to just add flexibility to the nib. We have a very, I would say, a relatively intricate design here. We have the Pineider crest, Pineider, you know, logo in script there. And then we have a very faint nib grade. I did notice that the nib grades are quite hard to see. I think those must be done by laser after the nib is sort of stamped. So very faint, but you can see EF there. And then it says quill nib and 14 karat 585. And then we have this, I don't know, what would you call that? An eyedropper, inkwells shaped, I'm not sure what you call that. Breather hole, very unusual. And then you have scroll work around the edges of the nib. So quite a busy looking nib. I think it does look pretty cool. You know, the cutouts definitely take away from I would say, the beauty of the look of the nib, but it's neat looking. And of course, I always like something different. We have a plastic feed on the bottom, and these are Bach, I want to say 250 threading, so they do unscrew easily. You can swap them out. So that part is really nice. Threading, very smooth. The pen has a nice quality feel to it. And, you know, it's turned, I believe, from a solid bar. I mean, I think it pretty much has to be with this kind of material. You have a Pineider branded converter here, standard international cartridge and converter. Let's do some measurements. About 139 long, unposted, about 126, and posted, about 164. The grip section is weird. So I'm going to go at the narrowest point since that's really where your fingers sit, 10.2. So that's quite a decent width. And then if we go towards the back here, 12.6. It is pretty much flush with the body there. So you do have some nice width there. And then if we go to the weight here, it's magnetic, so it's sticking to the scale. 23.3 uncapped and capped 38 grams. So nice weight to it. It feels, this does have a quality feel to it. I don't think it's the best looking, but from a functional perspective, really like this pen. Was quite surprised by it actually. So in hand, it's pretty comfortable. You know, this is going to be polarizing for people. There's no question about it. I don't think sliding off of it is going to be an issue, but it's really forcing your hand or your fingers into a particular spot. But I've found it to be quite comfortable, and I do write with it capped and or posted and unposted with no problem. It is balanced such that I think with this metal towards the section, it always keeps the nib down pretty much. Okay, let's do a couple of quick comparisons here. Is that capped right? There we go. Cap is a little weird. Here it is with the Delta Duna and a Aurora Optima. So full-size pen, you know, number 6 size nib. Not much more to say than that. Okay. For the writing sample, going to be using a Papermine Tomoe River hardcover notebook. These notebooks are excellent for fountain pens, and for Blake's broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. So this is the Pineider La Grande Bellezza, Jesus. And this is the Quill Extra Fine 14K nib. And this is Hiroshi Shinkai. Okay, so we'll try fast writing. Okay, so the performance of this nib is very impressive. No skipping, it's smooth, and it's somewhat soft. I wouldn't say that this is like a super soft nib, but you can get some line variation. Now, I've tried, I think, 4 different quill nibs, and some are more flexible than others. I would say this one is not one of the more flexible ones, but you know, as you can see, you can get some line variation there. And it does kind of snap back a bit, but it's really not, I wouldn't really consider this a flexible nib at all. It really is more just a soft nib. And, you know, in your writing, if you push on it a little bit, you can get some line variation that I think looks good. What I think I like about this nib is, you know, this is an extra fine and it's quite smooth, where a lot of times flex nibs are quite scratchy. That isn't really the case here. So the way that I think of this nib is this is just a very nice, soft kind of everyday nib. I don't think of it as a flex nib. And in that sense, it really is quite a good performer. It doesn't skip ever. I think they did a good job with this nib. I just don't think it's really, I wouldn't really consider it a flex nib, but you can get some nice line variation there if you push on it. In terms of reverse writing, I haven't tried that. Yeah, it's actually quite smooth. You don't get a huge benefit from the reverse writing in terms of line width, but you certainly could do that. So what are my pros and cons for the Pineider La Grande Bellezza Gemstone? Well, I think there's a lot of cool things going on here. We have number 1, the Quill Nib, this custom designed nib made by Bach for Pineider. It's very soft, it has a unique look and feel to it, and it is threaded so you can unscrew it and put it in, I believe, any Bach 250 housing, so that is really nice. I do like the magnetic cap. It seals really well, left it for a week and a half or 2 weeks, and it wrote instantly. I was very impressed by that. The build quality of the pen feels really good, which was surprising because one of the other Pineiders I had several years ago was not great in terms of fit and finish, whereas this seems to be really well made. So very happy about that. It's quite a comfortable pen. I like that it posts magnetically. The material has a nice depth to it. It seems like a well-built pen, and it's a nice writer with zero performance issues. The feed keeps up really, really well with this nib. Now, in terms of cons, I don't think it's the best looking pen. I don't really care for this feather clip. I also think that the section, really limits where you can hold it just because of the shape of it. Some people may not like this. However, I will say for a metal grip section, it's really not very slippery because of that shape. It kind of locks your fingers in place. It will not work for every grip. But other than that, other than the looks and maybe the quick brown fox pangram on the back, I don't really have any cons. I was pretty impressed with this. I do still see some of these for sale, in the $200 range. And for that, this is a pretty nice pen with a gold, soft nib and some nice features here. So I was pleasantly surprised by this pen overall. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen paper and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.